All right, so I've calmed down. That was just a little nerve-wracking, but that's the kind of shit I'm talking about in my last video. Like, that is crazy. People just to pull up here, you know. And the fact that this man told me that he could take care of my ex-husband. I said, what you mean, like, you know, because he's like, I know some people. I said, what you mean, like a non-corrupt cop? And he began to laugh and say, no, I got some Montgomery County boys. This is what is happening. And like, they're trying to take down my videos as I'm posting this in case if something happens to me. But this is the kind of shit that I'm dealing with. People just, yeah, that's what he said. Something ain't right. But I do know that there's a lot of gang stalking and a lot of threats. My children, I've already been threatened with, if I initiated going public, that my children were next. I've had hackers hack everything I've had. And I gave all my IMEI numbers to a woman police officer. And instead of her filing a report like her chief told her to do, or captain or whoever, she decided to use them for her own benefit of something or other. I'm not really sure. What I do know is that every time that I would talk to this officer, she never reported anything. She no longer works for the police department, but it wasn't because she didn't do her job. But this is a big drug smuggling that must be going on. There must be something else bigger than just, you know, trying to set me up. Because I do know about the organized crime. I do know a lot about the organized crime. Or not a lot, but enough. Enough to where people are coming down to my friend's house when they're, you know, for no reason. No reason whatsoever should anybody even be coming down here. And it's the same man. And that's all been documented as well. And he did ask me when I spoke to him, you know, because I just thought he was a friendly dude. You know, I met him at the store a couple times and, you know, hey, how you doing? But not only did he lie about his name, but the first thing he'd asked me when I spoke to him wasn't even a question really. It was more like a comment like, you witnessed a killing? And that shit kind of freaked me out a little bit. Then he kept asking me if I was scared of him. He's like, are you scared of me? Are you scared of me? I was like, no, I'm not scared of you. Why would I be scared of you? And then he wanted to know more and more information that I had. When I told him to start with my ex-husband, I believe he started to laugh. And he was like, oh, okay. You know, but when he said, well, do you have any evidence? I said, oh, yeah, I got tags. He goes, well, tags is identification. And then that's when read between the lines, and he started to try to divert the situation to other police officers in town. He was telling me about other cops that I could give two shits about, you know. But yeah, this is very scary. This is extremely scary. Because they went to my cousin Brandy's house. They went to her house, and you know, they did the same thing. As far as like the gang stalking and all, it was like everywhere I go. And nobody will help me. Nobody. I've had people show up at the restaurants where I was at and offer to go back to speak, just to talk at their hotels. Come on. I'm not like that anyway, but still. It's all set up to get me to look like I'm doing bad things and, you know, I'm breaking all kinds of laws, which I'm not doing. But it's because I kind of just went within and started observing, you know, the situational awareness kind of thing. But that shit, what I just saw, y'all, that's got my nerves a little rattled for him to come out here. And basically I was told, well, I wasn't basically, he told me, he said, stay away from Pt.2. And Pt.2 is where I'm at. Stay away from Pt.2. First off, kiss my ass. But the fact that I saw him this morning, and it's because there's trackers on my cars, but he drove down here. Yeah. Except this time he's on camera. That's the kind of shit I'm telling you about. No, he didn't come down here just to turn around, because there's another street that he could have turned down before he even got here. So this is planned, set up, and if something happens to me, and this sounds crazy to everybody, and I really don't care. If something happens to me, you need to be looking at that white truck. I have a kill switch, so if something happens to me, they'll know who to look for, and specifically that truck. Because apparently he was more concerned about whether or not I witnessed some kind of killing or murder or something than anything. And I'm not really sure what that's about. I can tell you that things out of my bedroom have been missing. So, a bullet for my gun, my 380 that I legally registered, was missing. So, I don't know. I don't know where any of this is going to lead to. Everybody thinks I'm crazy, which is fine. I mean, we all have our opinions. But you just witnessed it firsthand, TikTok. That wasn't just a gang stalker. That was one of the main ones. That was one of the main ones. And to know that I'm all the way out here, yeah, there's more going on. So if something happens to me, they'll know who to look for. And all my videos keep getting reported now because they're watching everything I'm doing, so I won't get it out. But yeah, there's a plethora of information that these people have involved me in that I have no business even wanting to even care about anybody else's shit but mine. And this just stemmed from me wanting to be blackmailed by my ex-husband after all these years. And instead, it's turned into something completely crazy. People from Michigan, New Jersey, New York, everybody's coming down, and they're doing a lot of hacking. And the reason why I say that is because everybody in South Georgia, we don't wear shorts in 60-degree weather. We just don't. And when you come down here and you're pale like Casper, and you stick around for a little while, and every time I am in your vicinity in a restaurant or something like that, my phone immediately gets hacked. Yeah. And then you tell me your fake name, but tags don't lie, y'all. Tags don't lie. Evidence doesn't lie. This is scary. And people are like, oh, we'll call somebody. Who? Who are you going to call? If they're part of the problem, they're obviously not going to be the solution. Who do you call? Other than Ghostbusters. I'm being funny, but seriously, who do you call? There's nobody to call. Because everybody here either gaslights you or pushes you off like it's no big deal. But I find it weird that everybody that I spoke to, they were always getting phone calls. Right as I was going to the police department or whatever, they were getting phone calls while I was sitting there talking to them. So there's an insider, an inside cop, inside federal agent, inside GBI officer. There's somebody that's on the inside that decided to take it upon themselves to do an investigation, and now it's gone in a whole other fucking way. But the fact that I was asked if I'd witnessed a killing, and it was specific, a killing, not a murder, but a killing. And I kind of looked at him funny, and I'm like, no, this has to do with my ex-husband about all this gang stalking. What are you talking about, It wasn't even a question. It was more of a statement. I have more information, but I'm not going to put that on here. Just know that I'm not on medications. I don't smoke. I don't drink. So know that what I'm telling you is the truth. And that the light will win. Truth will prevail. And these corrupt people will be going down for it. That's all I got to say.